I'm Craig Young, Chief Technology Officer for Swift, and I am delighted to be kicking off day 3 of Innotribe. The linking theme on today's presentation is about innovative technology and business. And for me as CTO, this is something near and dear to my heart, and not for the obvious reasons around revenue generation and cost reduction, but rather on creating an engaging workforce. When you understand the value of the work you're doing, it creates a much more rich team, and in fact, makes it much easier to attract and retain talent. With us here today, we have an authority on artificial intelligence and high-performance computing and how that's changing the financial services industry. Give me a warm welcome for Dr. Goh. So, Dr. Goh joined Silicon Graphics back in 1989, and in 1998 he became their chief engineer, and in 2000 was named their chief technology officer. And after their acquisition with Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, he was named their vice president and SGI chief technology officer. He has been named one of the most influential CTOs in the industry, and is on many of the ones to watch lists that come out annually. So with my pleasure, Dr. Goh, I'll turn it over to you.
I have only 2 goals today. One, that you enjoy yourself, and 2, that you at least learn one thing new that could be useful for your business. So you can see that AI, high-performance computing, and financial services industry, that's the reason we are here today. And the way we're going to do it is with understanding that AI, there are 2 approaches. The top-down, traditional, and the newer bottom-up approaches, right? And that I'm going to focus on the bottom-up for predicting the future. That's what we are here, right? Same with science and engineering, same with finance. If there are no laws, you build your own rules, just like life, right? If there is laws, you rely on them. If not, you build your own rules at home, right? Yeah, there we go. Let's look at science first. Let's look at an example of a law. That's an 18-wheeler truck right at the bottom there. And this is the size of a tornado forming. There is a law that tells you if you run your thermodynamics equations, you can determine roughly where the touchdown point is of that tornado and where the path of the tornado would be. We're not quite there yet. We're getting it right 1 out of every 3 times, right? But we're getting there. And all these are based on a set of laws called thermodynamics equations here. Now, the first 2, there are 3 laws there. There are 3 equations there. The first 2 predated the Nobel Prize, but the third one won a Nobel Prize. Yeah, that's why they're called laws. Okay. What's the law that says that a cyber attack is coming? Well, there is none, right? So you rely on rules. This is an example from one of our customers in Japan, NICT, N-I-C-T, that's detecting all the IP packets coming from a remote location to their location and identifying in yellow what those IP addresses are. They set a rule. There are many, many rules in there. Say, for example, if an IP address was dormant before and it starts to send me the first 2 packets, I'm going to suspect that that's going to be the start of a DNS attack from that location. Has been commandeered. So there is no law there, no equation to help you there. So someone sat down and wrote an equation, an if statement. If IP address was dormant before and sent me 2 packets, do something, right? That's a rule. So laws and rules. No laws, write rules. And that's how we lived all these years. In stock pricing, yes, you have written rules. You may not know it, but they have written rules. For example, that's a 50-day moving average of that stock price, and the other one is a longer-term 200-day moving average. And you can write a rule, right, to say if the 50-day exceeds the 200-day, buy. That's a simple rule, but you can make it more complex, right? I will only buy, if this is true, I will only buy if it is not a Friday and if it is not raining. Right? You could start to expand on those rules, and that's where your differentiation comes in, because you consider more and more things. Yeah? Option pricing. You can write rules, right? If my stock price or exercise price goes up, right, the call option should go up, and the put option should go up a different way. You can write those rules, but the problem with those rules is that there are so many things to consider. They cannot get it all right, and that how much should the stock price go up relative to the exercise price, and who is more important? Now, you don't have that in a rule. However, there is a Black-Scholes law. Now, it's a derivative of a law, yeah? And a lot of your quants do this, right? It does not determine your option price, but it gives you guidance. Because it considers the delta, right, the D, the cursive D that you see there, are the rate of change, yeah, of the different parameters below. And it takes all these into consideration, how fast each of the different ones are moving, and tells you what the call price should be and the put price should be. So therefore, we look at bottoms-up approaches. This is the new and emerging, re-emerging, I call it re-emerging method. And people call this machine learning, but I call it bottoms-up, without the S. Right. All right. Yeah. Maybe tonight with the S. Right. And what do? No model. I'm not going to go to school and study physics. I don't care about rules. I care about nothing. I just care about your past records. So now that I've given you the grounding of top-down, bottoms-up, let's look at some of the world's example where Google, Facebook, Apple have been investing massive amounts of monies in. Because this is going to decide the type of tools your quants or your analysts will get, because it's coming from them. So what do they measure in terms of artificial intelligence? The bottoms-up, top-down approach, yeah? They use games. I use the word brain, I meant human brain, yeah? Yeah, okay. Right. In '97, we know that Deep Blue beat the world top chess player, Kasparov. This particular board position was when Kasparov conceded. So keep that in mind, right? The last bastion of human power for chess, right? The number of combinations is 10 to the power 47. If you want to work through a table of all the different chess positions, it's 1047. You know how big this number is? It is a crazy big number, right? Right? If I took all the computers on Earth, everybody's, Google, Amazon, yours, put it together, ran it for 100 years, I'll only get 10 to the power 30. This is a crazy big number. This tells us that we don't solve chess. We only need to be good enough to beat humans. Eh? So keep that in mind, right? AI systems currently, all the huge investments are goal towards beating humans, not solving problems fully, right? For that, you need top-down, okay? So AI software can give you a new perspective, but sometimes they cannot tell you why. Keep that in mind, yeah? The regulatory people will have an issue with that, right? Yeah, you're not alone. The drug design companies have the same issue. Right? The machine tells them, this is a great drug. But then say, oh, okay, it's machine telling me, how I'm going to tell it to the FDA, right? So, of course, they go back to the top-down to validate what the machine is saying bottoms up. And then they present the top-down approach to the FDA. Yeah? Things to learn here. So is there something tougher? Oh, the second thing about this is, if you can find this picture, this particular picture, that was the last move, yeah, by Lee Sedol. Keep that in posterity, because this is the last bastion of human beating over machine. He won this only one game. Yeah. After that, he lost. Yeah. So last bastion of human ingenuity, right, is here. No, I'm just joking. Now, is there a game tougher than Go? This one, you get more than a T-shirt, right? Yeah. Poker, right? Now, the combination is less, but there is one thing about poker that makes it tough. Yes, it's incomplete, right? All the other games, you know what your opponent pieces are. In Texas, heads up, no limit poker, hold'em, no limit poker. The cards are hidden from you. This makes the AI software even more complex. So now you have incomplete information to feed past records in for deep learning. So what are you going to do? You give it a law to patch up the fact that your information that you're feeding the machine is incomplete. You see the word law there, right? And what law did this software use that I was involved with CMU? Nash equilibrium, it turns out. So don't just think of Black-Scholes, right? Nash equilibrium will become more and more important, even so after the movies, right? Because it is good at figuring out behaviors in a negotiation, especially if you don't know what the other parties have. So in 2016, before 2017, we went out and played against the world top 4 poker players. We lost $700,000, virtual money. Yeah, yeah. So Professor Sandholm, right, and us worked together to build a machine 10 times faster. In January 2017, we came back. We beat the 4 world top poker players, $1.7 million. So we made back the $700K and went ahead by $1 million, right? Virtual money, right? The next message here is scalability. Machine learning algorithm can scale. It's just how much you're willing to invest in gobbling up all the past records. Of course, you need to be smart about it, right? To train your system. To recognize human faces in an unsupervised learning environment, Google took 30 million images here, right? Better if it's supervised. Yeah. Oh, by the way, it's like the Wild West now, right? There are poker players coming up to the machine and say, I want to compete against you. So far, it has not lost since January. It's even been paid to go to China against the top poker players. It won. To the extent that Professor Sandholm became a celebrity at the airport, right? At Beijing airport. Yeah, right. So remember, these numbers are big. Therefore, typically AI software don't solve problems. They just give you a good prediction and can't tell you why, many a times. But they can scale, right? Now, it takes a kid years to get a college degree. But wouldn't it be great if a grade 1, first grade student goes in the morning and comes back with a college degree in the afternoon, right? Now, that's what the machine can do if you're willing to invest in it, right? And finally, it's asymmetric, meaning it is front-heavy, meaning it takes lots of compute power to learn, to train, but then by the time you've trained up all the weights and relative importance and input ranking, those are very lightweight that you can put on remote devices, and they can make predictions very quickly. It's back-heavy, front-light. And that's part of the reason why, for the mission to Mars, yes, we have put one of these inference engine, the front-light engine, on the space station. The arrow is where it is. Yeah, because as you travel further and further from Earth, you need to be able to do predictions on your own faster. So machine learning algorithm that has been pre-learned on Earth with all the heavy duty done, and then you carry all the lightweight input rankings to do predictions. Yeah. So I have a minute left. I'm just going to give you a quick taxonomy, right? Artificial intelligence, 2 ways to do it, remember. Your traditional way is top-down. Your quants, your analysts, your data scientists are starting to look at the bottoms-up approach. Embrace them. They do not replace, the bottom-up doesn't replace the top-down, but it gives you a new perspective. And I've seen scientists that realize that their top-down approach for years have been missing something. And it was pointed out too by the bottoms-up approach. I got goosebumps, right, when the scientist came to me with that realization, with that anecdote. At bottoms-up, sometimes you predict a point. That is, where will that stock price be tomorrow, right? Sometimes you predict a category. Should you buy or sell? Yeah? And then they use regression there. Don't worry too much about it. If you hear it, that's basically what it is. It's basically you get a splatter of points, find me a nice line that is the best fit for all those splatter of points. Yeah? So that line can be extended to predict the future. Regression. Category, you got classification. If your data is labeled, this is a picture of a cat, this is a picture of a cat, this is a picture of a dog, this is a picture of a human, and you send it all to the system, and at least the system has something to go by.